From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Open.
Well, good evening and welcome into Open Line. I'm Chuck Long, glad to be along with you for the next hour. Really excited about the hour that we have planned for you this evening. One of my favorite hours, I know it's one of your favorite hours as well. This is our Ask an Expert, Ask an Attorney, and we'll be talking with one of your favorites, Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm. I know a lot of you out there, you talk amongst yourselves, you talk to friends, you talk to family. You're not sure where to go. You're not sure where to turn. This is a place where you can get answered. And we are excited to welcome once again, like I said, one of our favorites, Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm. Great to see you, Kevin. How are you?
Good to see you, Chuck. We're still getting used to the Zoom, but I miss seeing you in person and being there at the Channel 5 studios. We're doing the show. You know, we must march on. We never know what tomorrow holds. We just know who holds tomorrow. And briefly, are kind of in disarray. People say, well, are we going to have a hearing? We go and it could be continued. And then you have a lot of trials. So all those things are continued. Nobody really knows anything for sure. Some counties still are not holding court.
Well, and
pretty interesting.
Part of the uncertainty, and and I know that makes it, even more challenging when you aren't sure of what the next day holds, or what even the next few hours hold from day to day.
Right. Chuck, and what it really has emphasized to me to understand is how valuable the judicial system is. And so it is the greatest system in the entire world. And any time that it breaks down, when you say, okay, well, I can get to a judge, this is wrong. And if we can't do there, then we feel a sense of outrage because this. So I have felt a lot of that when the courthouse are closed. So make this point early on, when the courthouse affects everyone, and especially those that have a hard time having justice, the only thing that will give you some justice, a small man can go up against a corporation and have an even playing field. If they shut the doors, say you're going to mediation, you're going to arbitration, it's not really good for the working man.
Absolutely. And, Kevin, I was, I always kind of look through when I go through some of the shows that we've done. We've done a lot of shows together, and we, again, have a lot. I just wanted to mention at the top of the show, if you have one of those questions or comments for Kevin, make sure you get on the line with us early. We'll get to as many as we can. I know the last time that we were here, we weren't able to get to all the calls, so we want to get to, like I said, we can, but this is everything from, if you have questions about and you want to talk to one of the best lawyers in the business, this is your hour that you can do it, whether it's about personal injury, medical malpractice, police misconduct, employment discrimination, car accidents, truck accidents, bicycle, pedestrian accidents. I mean, there's so many things I know that we all have questions about. We wonder, maybe it's us, maybe it's for a friend, maybe it's for family. You get on the line with us. 737-7587 is the number to call. And Kevin, I know you often, even when someone calls with one of the questions, it may be them, but then we find out that it's for a broad range of folks.
Absolutely. I hear all the time people say, hey, well, I love your show. Thank you for doing it and then I still. They say, well, I'm too embarrassed. I'm scared. I don't know how to structure the question. And the real world is there is no such thing as a student. That's one of the things I take a lot of pride in for you and I doing this show. Everyone is welcome. Everyone, the rich and the poor, the young and the old. And, advice is power. So we can share it and we're giving it. And, I like to say the pandemic came through. There's been many lawyers that went home. And they didn't want to see, and it's really hurt the general population. A desire inside. As a Christian, I want to help you. If I can tell you a little advice and let you sleep, protect your show has been amazing all these years. I know it. I've had time to reflect and evaluate it, and that's why you're one of my heroes, Chuck. You care about people. We all are. That should be the message. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's you, Chuck. And so I call because you're helping lots of people when we engage with these discussions. And what good is it if I have some answers and some advice if I don't get to share it? And, one of the great coaches said, learn your profession well and give it away the rest of your life. Well, I pondered that. How does that make sense? But the truth is, and you can't outgive God. The more that you share, those are some philosophies I live by. I would teach my children, my grandchildren, and I teach the viewing audience.
Absolutely, Kevin. And, obviously, people love you for your professional knowledge, but one of the things that I think that they admire most about you, and I do too myself, the pearls of wisdom that you often sprinkle throughout the show. So I jot these down and take them home. It's things that I can, wake up in the morning and say, oh yeah, I remember when Kevin said that. So especially in these days where, sometimes you wake up and you just feel kind of overwhelmed. And like I said, your pearls of wisdom, they help me, especially in these trying times.
I got to tell you, I had somebody call and say, Kevin, I want to tell you one of your old quotes from 25 years ago. I said, well, testify, friend. He said, you said one time somebody called you and said, everybody needs a preacher they can believe in and a lawyer you can trust. And I really love that. And that's true. And I love to have people say, I trust Kevin Kennedy, and spend our life. Right now, the bar exam, it's been a who shot John. They're going to do it individually. Never been done before. And some guys say, well, man, there could be cheaters. The truth is, your character is all you. Life is an open book, Chuck. And I've tried to teach people, be sensitive to that your whole life. And if you want to play in those zones, so. Go ahead, Chuck.
All right, absolutely. Kevin, our lines, like I say, they're starting to get really busy, so we're going to go to the phones shortly. Just wanted to mention to you, if you're just tuning in, this is the hour for Asking top attorneys in the state of Tennessee, Kevin Kennedy. I know a lot of you watch Kevin when he's here on a regular basis, and we're always glad to welcome him on this special episode of the show, and especially in these days, trying times. If you do have a question, a legal question, in business for over 35 years. So you were talking to, again, not only the head of that particular office, but also one of the top in the state. So we're going to go right now, though. We appreciate you calling in. We're going to start our lines. If you do have one of those questions, as we go to the lines right now. David, welcome to the show. You're on open line. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I think both of y'all are pretty cool brothers, okay? And you're my American human brothers, and I love that. And I think you both are really nice. Currently in Washington,
thank you.
Stalemate with the new stimulus package that's supposed to come out next for the American public. The big holdup right now is that the big thing is that the Republicans want to make it where you cannot sue a restaurant, hotel, or movie theater if you were to contract coronavirus. The Democrats don't think that should be in part of that bill. As an attorney, Kevin, what do you think? What is your viewpoint on that? I personally, as a consumer, if I feel like a place was negligent and that's where I contracted it something, I feel like I should have that right to sue, and I just hang up and listen.
Excellent.
Thanks, David.
Excellent. Thank you. And you and I come from the same sheet of music.
And you and I come from the same sheet of music.
The truth of the matter is this. Anytime someone does negligent behavior, and as a result of that negligent hurt and you receive damages, you should be compensated. It's irresponsible for us to go somewhere and they took no precautions. They did not obey the law. Their negligence was gross, and as a result of their gross negligence, our family member was killed or hurt. I think the American judicial system screams out, hold people accountable, and it will make people follow the law. Why do we have the public policy to protect the general public? So you and I say the same thing. Keep that courthouse door. So many times you get corporations or insurance and they bully the little man. The only hope in salvation that we as American people are lawyer. And many times you say, fellas, if you don't make this right, we are going to light you up. There's two sides of Kevin Kennedy. One is he's one of the most compassionate, nicest fellows you've ever seen. The other side is he can be very, let's say, aggressive. And what triggers me is to see someone being bullied. And I've had that in me. Strong people stand up for themselves. Stronger people stand up for others. Thank you for those. And you and I are on the same sheet of music.
Absolutely. David, thanks so much for starting the show off with that great question. We appreciate it very much. We're going right back to the lines right now, though. Like I said, the line's getting busy. George is on the line with us. George, good evening. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin? You with us, George? All right. We're going to go to another line right now. George, in case you did get cut off, just make sure you give us a call right back. Madeline is on the line with us. Madeline, good evening. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
I'd like to ask Attorney Kevin, a woman lives in the house with a man for 10 years. The man is the owner of the house, and he passes. What rights does she have, if any?
Okay, here we go. Some states have the common law of marriage. The state of Tennessee really doesn't recognize the common law of marriage unless there's a few exceptions. Remember, every law has an exception. As a general rule in Tennessee, unless there is a written contract, then that woman has no rights. If he died with a will, wherever he said the way it would go. If he died without a will, the state of Tennessee says it goes to his heirs. And so it really puts people in a bad position. The legislature could take action and write some new legislation to help people. But if not, the answer is marriage. And if people don't choose to marry, then they have to deal with the legal consequences as the. Thank you for that question, and it's a great one to discuss.
All right, thank you so much. We appreciate that call, Madeline. Now, so we are going to Mona. Mona, are you with us this evening? All right, Mona. All right, can you hear? Myrna. Okay, great.
Okay.
Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Yes, I spoke with Mr. Kennedy last month and about a complaint to a state agency that basically there was an investigation. They admitted that it was not done in good faith, but they said that
Yes.
The conclusion was that I didn't really have a case, basically, and I asked for the name of or told the executive director, spoke in turn, basically backed them up, said they were punishing the investigator, but they wouldn't give me any specifics, and of course that doesn't enhance my situation any, and so I mentioned that I had asked her about getting in touch with the Board of Commissioners that is over the state agency, and I think you were under the assumption that I could just go on the website and find. You have the names, but there are no email addresses, and like I said, she won't give them to me. I certainly don't have any phone numbers.
Okay. Good. I'm going to tell you that I gave you an A+ for effort. There's a few tricks out there that you might employ. One is there's an access to people searches. So you might try to investigate, and if you know their name and you don't have try to hit a people search, and people can get that information. It gets back to that old saying, the squeaky door gets the oil. If you do nothing, you get nothing. And so that's why we have agencies, because if you've got an organization, they're not doing what they're supposed to. In fact, they are abusing you, and then you should go up the chain and then keep pursuing. The truth is almost every organization has someone above them. And so you have to go on up. And again, if you're employed with a state agency, do your job. If you do your job, no one can attack you with these complaints. And if they did, you can fight them off. It's another good thing to say we've got lots of people that are doing their jobs, and people can make frivolous complaints against them. So what did Kevin Kennedy say? Document, do your best. It goes both ways. Thank you for that question.
All right, absolutely. So we do appreciate our calls as we Great way this evening. We are going to take a short break, but when we come back, we will answer more of your questions. If you have one, get on the line with us, 737-7587. You're watching Open Line.